Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, let's just get right into it. Tesla ending the day pretty much flat once again. I believe this is what I think wasn't yesterday also essentially like literally flat actually. I think yesterday was, yeah. Anyways, either way, we're pretty much ending the day flat once again. Up, 1/10%. Just shy of $195, right? So 194.89. So not too shabby, but all in all, this is pretty much just a simple consolidation. Yesterday we had a massive run up, and then we pretty much collapsed. Well, not collapsed, but we definitely gave up all the gains and ended flat. Today, kind of the opposite happened. We pretty much spent the most of the day in the red. You know, pretty decently red at some points too. I think it was like maybe 2% at some point or something like that. Let's double check here quickly. I think it was about 2% in the lowest, almost 2%, 1.8% roughly at the lowest price. So. And then we pretty much just gave that back up in a way, you know, in terms of like we bought it back up or brought it back up, whatever you want to call it. But nonetheless, the point is the fact that we had essentially the two opposite days in a row, from, you know, green to red and then from red to green. So what does it all mean? What does it all, you know, where does it take us into next week and all that stuff? But yeah, let's talk about it. Let's see what we can, you know, dissect from this, if you will. And let's just get this party started. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. Nothing I say is financial advice, of course, as per usual. But the first thing to notice is the fact that Tesla actually doesn't look that bad. In all honesty, Tesla actually looks pretty decent here, right? So you can argue that we had a little bit of a bull flag form in the past couple of days or so. And you can argue, you can definitely make an argument that we did kind of more or less break out of it right here, as you can see, right? Now, this is great. This is great news and everything like that. But however, in order to really, truly, in my opinion at least, you know, like say that, you know, maybe we can actually start getting the next leg up potentially here, I would definitely want to start seeing kind of 195, 196 start to break, right? You definitely want to start seeing candles closing above that once again, break these levels that you can see we've constantly on the 30-minute at least, or let's go 1 hour, right? But you can even more so here, you can see how just much rejection we're getting around this level, right? Just constant rejection over and over and over. Had a really good attempt here, and then we just pretty much collapsed again, right? So essentially you can see the rejection happening, right? It's very, very clear and very, very obvious. So if we can start closing candles pretty much right above this overall level on the 1 hour, let's say, as an example for the first, you know, level, if you will, that'll be great, right? That'll be fantastic. Now, it doesn't mean that we have to right away, and there's a decent chance that early next week can be potentially red. There is a possibility, and if that happens, again, like I said, I think yesterday, as long as we're pretty much, in my opinion, you know, above this kind of 186 to 190 level, as long as, you know, we don't go much farther below that, so like this whole range right here, as long as we like pretty much hold 186-ish, honestly, like I'm not too worried. I really am not. Under 186, it's still not horrible, but, you know, it's starting to get a little bit more concerning, of course. However, again, you know, as long as we pretty much bounce around 186, that's really not all that bad. And honestly, it wouldn't even really surprise me if we do actually go there first before our next leg up, right? Again, since we pretty much ended flat today as well, not really much has changed from what I said yesterday. There's also a chance we just consolidate and just kind of, you know, go tighter and tighter and tighter here. Let me get the thing here, right? There's a chance that we kind of, you know, kind of like do this like this, tighter, tighter, and then explode upwards and potentially downwards. It is possible. I do think it'll be upwards, but, you know, there's a decent chance that it is, of course, still to the downside. It's just, in my opinion, not very likely. Maybe like a 30% chance down, but probably like a solid 70% chance to the upside, right? Or something like that. So that's essentially another possibility as well. But regardless of what happens, whether we, you know, consolidate and then go up, whether we just go straight up from here, or whether we come down here first and then, you know, bounce, I personally think regardless of what happens, I strongly believe that Tesla is looking pretty decent, in all honesty, to look for more upside. Could be even, honestly, easily next week, right? So the thing you want to also pay attention to is, of course, the VIX. Now, the VIX actually did break down lower than I expected, which is, you know, not great for, I guess, bears, if you will. You know, it is breaking down, but you can see the VIX, as it's starting to break down, it is starting to make a higher low on the RSI, even though it is technically making a lower low on the actual chart itself, right? So the VIX is actually showing a bit of a bullish divergence, slowly starting up. This will take, of course, time to play out. It is on the daily. It's not going to happen just overnight or even like in a week or so. This will take a few weeks, in my opinion, to truly play out. However, with that being said and done, I think that gives time for Tesla to actually make its move. However, also with that being said and done, I do believe that the, you know, the major market is still looking pretty spooky in a sense that, like, you know, it does feel like it's, you know, pretty close to potentially falling off a cliff, right? In all honesty. So again, as long as we're in this channel, I'm still overall bullish, especially if we start breaking above this overall red line that we did get rejected at yesterday. Also pretty bullish. The fact that we did go under the 200 moving average but still went up above it and closed above it is actually a decent sign. So that's why I'm not like super bearish yet overall on the market itself, mainly because it is still showing, you know, signs of life, signs of just, you know, fighting spirit, if you will, whatever, right? It's not giving up yet. So that's why I'm not, you know, ultra bearish or anything like that, even though the day did start off a little bit bearish because I think the jobs numbers came in today, I believe it was, which ended up not being, you know, ideal. But nonetheless, it's not looking all that bad, really, truly. So, you know, I'm not really bearish on the market just yet, though it is getting, you know, it is getting close to it, which is the only concern I have for Tesla and how that might affect Tesla, you know, with its potential run up coming up, in my opinion, even as early as next week, maybe like mid next week, I think is where it might start. So that's the only concern I have. But again, looking at Tesla, just strictly Tesla, you can see on the daily, right, we are still setting up beautiful bullish divergence. We are slowly consolidating on this. It's pretty much going straight to the side on the daily RSI, as you can see as I make it bigger, right, which is, you know, perfectly fine. It's essentially just straight consolidation, nothing wrong with that whatsoever, right? And that's essentially what we're doing here, similar to what we did over here. We ran up, consolidated, and then we shot up again. I think this was 2 days of consolidation, so now we just finished our 2 days of consolidation. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a third day, like Monday, for instance, of more or less the same, you know, nothingness, if you will. Again, as bad as worst case scenario, realistically, for the bullish scenario to still play out is around this 186, 187-ish level, then bounce off of that and then make our way up. Again, if we lose this level, that's where things start getting a little bit less convincing, in my honest opinion, right? On top of that, you can see the 200-day moving average on the 1 hour chart did also reject us the other day. I think it was yesterday as well, so something else to keep in mind. But moving along to the daily one more time, taking a look at the major moving indicators, you can see we did actually climb above the the 21 EMA once again. So we closed above it here, and today we went below it, but still closed above it, which is a pretty damn good sign. So this to me overall is great, especially if we can get a Monday closure above it again. That's just like the cherry on the cake, let's just say, right? And I really think Tesla is looking fantastic, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does do that. The Bollinger Band, I still think at the very least will come up to the green line at the very least, which is around 205. So we'll see what happens with that. And then of course we have the 50 moving average, which is slowly coming down to us, which currently is sitting at 215, which I still think will of course keep slowly making its way down to us until we kind of, you know, more or less meet potentially, which I think will also potentially happen as well, if not maybe even go a little bit higher, right? So again, my ultimate price target is easily into the 220s to potentially even as high as 230 before this overall run, but may potentially be done for now. But also above the 5 and the 10-day moving average, which is of course a short-term bullishness, right? Going over to the weekly chart, let's take a look at the weekly candle. Let's remove the drawings for now just to see, you know, what it looks like just straight up, right? So you can see last week we had a beautiful hammer candle, not a beautiful, but a pretty decent looking hammer candle. Today and this week we pretty much had a more or less straight bullish reaction to it, right? Just a very nice large green candle, which is looking pretty decent as well, which is not all too shabby. Now we of course are getting rejected at this overall level. You can see right around here, which is around that kind of almost 200 level, which again will be very key. If we can start closing candles above 200, especially start closing a weekly candle above 200, in my opinion, that is a good sign, and that is more or less what I would definitely want to be seeing. So yeah, the thing to keep in mind though, guys, keep in mind, you know, the weekly is not showing any real signs like a bullish divergence just yet. So keep that in mind, which makes me think that potentially a lower low is still definitely in the works and is absolutely a real possibility for Tesla, coming down to maybe around 150-ish, give or take 10 points. Let's say maybe, you know, 160 to 140, anywhere in that range could be, in my opinion, the bottom for Tesla. But that doesn't mean it has to happen. It just means that the possibility of that happening are still very much in play, to where I wouldn't just completely dismiss it. Absolutely still in play until something says otherwise. And at the moment, nothing is telling me that it's not in play. Right, so just definitely keep that in mind. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, that is essentially what I'm seeing as of right this very moment. Let me know what you think about it down below. TLDR, Tesla's still looking pretty good. I'm not bearish on Tesla whatsoever. In fact, I am actually definitely more bullish than bearish on Tesla as we stand right this very moment. And I'll be surprised if we don't at the very least enter the 200s minimum, like the bare minimum. I'll be pretty disappointed if we don't, let's just say that. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys for Monday's update. Peace.